Welcome to another Founder Wisdom Pod. We have Mark Sapsford with us today. Mark is co-founder and partner at CapEQ or CapEQ. He's a B Corp M&A advisor, business sales and acquisition expert. He's done 50 plus transactions and completed these transactions across three continents. He's a corporate finance partner and a scale-up advisor. We're going to talk about his background, which is quite fascinating. This pod is brought to you by podpire.com. That is my podcasting company. If you want to start a podcast, generate nice leads, conversations, insights, authority, you can go to podpire.com. We teach you how to do that fully on autopilot, mostly with AI. Mark, welcome to the pod. Tell me a bit more about yourself and what you're up to nowadays.
Hi, Charles, and nice to meet you. So my name's Mark Sapsford, as you said, co-founder and partner of CapEQ. We are a corporate finance house that supply or give advice to business owners that are going and deciding to sell their business. We also acquire businesses on behalf of entities that have identified they want to grow through acquisition. We do corporate capital raising, not so much in the last couple of years because the market's so been tight, and then venture debt that plugs that gap where capital raising has fallen away. So we do that with the overarching B Corp over the top of our head. And what that means to us and to us as a team is that we want to find the right fit and ethos for the companies that we work for. So that is one, to maximize the value on behalf of the shareholders, but to make sure that the stakeholders, as in the employees and what have you, find that future home and have that ability to go on and grow within the new organization. And so that's fundamental to what we do. And that's how we set our stall out when we work with organizations, that we want to make sure that we find that right fit and ethos for the business to grow.
And remind us of what B Corp is again. It's ethical. It's respecting the environment. I guess it's the hard part in business, right?
Yeah, and it's huge. And I think from I suppose to distill it down to 3 P's: people, planet, profit. And the people piece is making sure that people are employed and they're looked after. The planet, having less of an impact on the planet. And if I give you an example of what that means to us as a corporate finance team, is that we've been going over 5 years now as a team, and we've only printed 3 pieces of A4 paper in the 5 years that we've done. If I look at where we were prior to working with and creating our own organization, we were probably doing, would be no exaggeration, to 1 to 2 tons of paper every year we were printing. We've eliminated printing. What that brings is a technology capability in what we do and brings a lot more power to our clients, but it also means that we're having less of an impact on the planet. And then for profit, creating a profit, we are a capitalized company, but it's clearly enabling profit enables us to do the good things in the world and give back to the business fraternity and to charities and everything else. So I think it's probably distilled down into 3 P's is what it is.
And is scaling a company the pure profits way, the old way, sort of cheating, not respecting the rules and not being ethical nowadays?
That's a really good question. And I think reality is that I think the world, all of us need to wake up to being fair in society and having less of an impact on the environment. And I think if we search our souls, that is the way we need to go. But profit is not a dirty word. Without profit, you don't get growth. You don't get gaining more staff and employing more people to pay more taxes. Profit is not a dirty word, but you need organizations to be successful. And if they are successful and then they are thinking about their impact on the environment and the planet, then that's got to be a good thing. That has to be where we need to drive business.
Right, because profits are not necessarily burning the planet up. Profits is being efficient, and also being efficient could be to respect the environment and to be sustainable, quote unquote. I had the CEO of 1% for the Planet on a podcast a week ago, and that made me think a lot. Now, how did you get there? You were in M&A for almost your full career. You are the owner of Driver Hire for some time, and you started at ExxonMobil. How did that shape your brain and got the EQ slash eco responsibility up in your head and up front in your business?
Yeah, really good question. And I think, like everyone, you have to go through experiences in life to be able to achieve what you do. And so for me, I worked for Driver Hire, then went on and sold that business, and then realized that actually this is what I can do and what I want to do. And then my career took a left turn and I went into corporate finance. And then over the years was then working on transactions, as you quite rightly say, across 4 continents and working on behalf of transactions, and then overseeing over 100 more. But in reality, I haven't become a B Corp because I've suddenly gained an ethical backbone. I've always had an ethical view of trying to do the right thing by the companies that I've worked for. This is just now, and now I've set up my own business with my partner and the team, and there's a team of 13 of us. It is the core to what do we want to do? How do we want to do our business? How do we want to take it to market? And how do we want to help businesses? And so B Corp now over our heads gives a customer a view of who we stand for, but we didn't need that to have an ethical backbone. That was there all the time. It just brings focus to what we are doing.
Right. And was the thesis to get in corporate finance the fact that it is still the best way to make big money nowadays? And then you got that money and you're like, okay, maybe we should do it in an ethical way, and that brought you to that product market fit?
I'm not so sure it's about the money. I think predominantly for me, and I think the whole team is, working with business owners that have the view that, they've worked in their business for often maybe 15, 20, 30, 40 years. And it's been their life's work. And you always hear business owners refer to it as their baby. And it's something that it's so important to them that the responsibility to a corporate finance house to then take that journey over in the last, for argument's sake, you've got a 1,500 meter circuit and the corporate finance house comes in the last 100 meters. We've got to make sure and have a huge responsibility to making sure that's correct and we get that right fit and ethos. So for me, it's about that journey and that holistic view of creating utopia for our clients and the wider teams for them to go on and grow within a larger organization, and removing what is effectively a glass ceiling is what we get out of bed for. So I don't think it's about the money. The money does come and follow it, but that money then is able, and we're able to then utilize that to invest in the team and invest in technology and enable us to be able to do far more for our customers.
Right. And do you absolutely need an advisor when you're selling a company? Isn't like AI at a very high level in which it could almost advise me and write my contracts if I'm thinking of selling?
That's an amazing question. And I think that's a conundrum for all of us to answer and will be in the future. What I would say to you though is, yes, it will probably do some of the elements of what we do. The danger is that AI will give you answers and in some instances create answers to give you an answer that what you require. And you need to know the answer before you ask it the question, if that makes absolute sense. And some of these things are, although the data will get better in the future, I think the challenge is you need to know the answer. So yes, it can do some of it, but in essence, people buy from people. It will not do the human element that is associated with taking a company to market. Plus, you need to be able to contact these businesses, speak to the businesses, be able to present the opportunity in the right manner, in the right financial constituents of presenting the business in the best light. So I think there is probably an element of AI that will help. Excuse me. But is it going to replace us today? No. Is it in the future? Maybe a percentage of what we do. But I think you're never going to get away from that. You need to be in meetings. You'll need to hold dialogue with your future purchaser and to get a clear understanding of their ethos and what they want to do with your business. So I think it will eliminate elements, but I don't believe it'll ever eliminate everything.
Right. And who's your ideal client persona? Would it be like a clean tech or something?
Yeah, yes, and well, we've clearly specific sectors that we don't work in. So munitions, gambling, all the what are defined as bad markets. But then thereafter, our typical client is between 5 and 150 million in revenue, but in some instances we go well below that because it's in a SaaS market which has got a recurring revenue over 1 million, and then we're well down below the 5 million. But in essence, if you look at our portfolio work, our portfolio sits around the 20 to 40 million revenue and about 3 to 5 million of EBITDA and above.
Got it. You mentioned some industries that you don't work with, and I've asked that questions on my LinkedIn and polls and on podcasts, and usually people don't necessarily think gambling is bad for the world. Do we have scientific proof that these businesses or porn, for example, is just not good for the world? What's your take on it?
You know what? I think at the bottom line, and I might regret this statement, but I think it's exploiting people to the crux of wherever you go in the areas you've mentioned. It's exploiting people, and that doesn't sit comfortably with me, doesn't fit comfortably with the ethics of us as a team. So I think, and we can all point to things that it's good and bad and whatever, but I think the underlying point is it's exploiting someone's, either their vulnerabilities or what have you, to make a profit, and that just doesn't sit comfortably with us.
And I agree with that. I'm just curious as per why humanity lets it go that way. Is it just because people need money to survive? Don't we have laws to prevent that? Because ultimately humanity is paying the price. I think we're profiting on the short term, but in the long term, I mean, people get addicted to porn, for example, and then they get to do all kinds of nasty things back in the society. Same for gambling, and then we need to pay for their gambling debts and so forth as taxpayers. So why isn't there like large-scale studies that prove that these things aren't a net positive for society?
Yeah, and I think that there have been debates and data gathered on all of these things, but I think at the end of the day, you're always going to have a fringe of society that will exploit the weakness of another side, we could go on for hours in whether it's right or wrong. It just goes on. I think for us as a team, exploiting someone else's weaknesses is not where we sit, and it's where we draw a line very clearly.
And how can people be more conscious, or CEOs and founders, about their business actions and their impacts?
Yeah, another really good question. And I think you need to review continuously, and have debate, and also don't lead, as a CEO and a leader of a business. You are at the helm of the business and steering the ship, but you have to reflect with your wider team on a, may not be a daily but weekly basis on this is where we're going, and reflect. And sometimes you may have an opinion that you believe is fundamentally right, but if you don't share or you don't vocalize that within a team environment, you get a sense check. And also, depending on the ethnicity and diversity within your business, you'll get different voices. And if the way a business moves forward far quicker is if you're taking those voices and working with those voices rather than just going one way.
Right. Okay, so we talked about some of your ideal clients. How do you get them to buy from you? Where do you seek them out, or is it a pure SEO and referral play?
Yeah, so referrals is a big part of our lives, because we have got incredible clients we've worked with over the years that are great references for us and continue to be. and that only grows as we're doing our work and working with different clients. We do some outreach where we identify there's a specific sector or there's an area where we would outreach, and then we've got referral partners in different areas that refer work to us, where basically it's a referral in that sense. So we have networks in that sense, but ultimately I would say 80% of our work is referral. It's coming inbound to us that has come back from either a client or a referral partner that knows the work that we've done.
And once they're a good fit, when is the contract actually signed? When do they actually choose you as a partner? And what are the fees? Is it hourly? Is it over the term of the collaboration? Is it custom? How does it work?
Yeah, that's a good question. So our relationship, how long does it take to sign a client? You know what? We're in no rush. So in some instances, we may work for clients as in giving them advice over maybe a 1 year, 2 year, 3 year process, and then they become a client because either the market is not right for us to take them to market, or there's things that they need to do and develop within their business before we take it to market. And in some other cases, it may be an event that has happened in their own lives, or something that's happened within the business that means they have to go and sell quicker than we would like, so that then the process happens a lot quicker. So there's no straight answer to that. It can be anything at all. Outside of that, we charge a monthly fee for the first 5 months, and then thereafter we are on our own, and often a transaction will take anything between 9 and 12 months. It can be done quicker, but our view is that it takes as long as it takes to get that right fit and ethos. So in essence, it's 9 to 12 months, and then we take a percentage of the gross transactional value at the end.
Okay, no, that's a cool model. And are you in growth mode or just sustaining a specific number of clients on a yearly basis?
We're in growth mode, but growth is not growth for growth's sakes, if that makes sense. So we are growing, and we have taken on more clients, but it is a responsible growth because we want to give the high level of service that we give to every client, and you can only do that when you are responsibly growing. You can't keep growing just for growth's sakes and then start not delivering the service you need to for your clients. So we are in growth and have been every year, but ultimately it's growth for the right point.
Should entrepreneurs have an exit strategy from day one?
Oh yeah. So you don't. Yeah, absolutely. You do not start a business without an exit in mind. The only reason why I say that is you need to think about, at any stage, someone will knock on your door, depending on what sector you're in. You know, if you're a SaaS provider and you're providing software as a service, your business is growing rapidly, you will get people's attention when you get above that 1 million annualized recurring revenue. You need to be prepared. You need to be prepared of what someone's going to knock on your door. And by the way, the first person who knocks on your door is never going to be your buyer. They are opportunists taking a chance to see if you're going to bite. And reality is, if you've got one buyer chasing you, there are often, and very often, multiple buyers that are out there. So you need to make sure that you exploit the market as much as you can to find that right fit, not to go with the first purchaser that knocks on your door.
And you've helped a bunch of businesses. What mistakes do you see in founders or CEOs in scaling a business?
Well, let's start with the fundamentals. I think it starts off with sorry, it's gone out of my head now. Bear with me 2 seconds. The fundamentals of the business. So the shareholders agreement that sets up the business from day one. So what I mean by that is, if you've got multiple founders, then having an articles of association that are incredibly nailed down from day one. Some of the conversations you will have on a shareholders agreement or the articles of association are really tough questions when you are just starting a business. And what we see very much in the early stages of a business is that they get approached, and then all of a sudden there's no mechanism for one of the founders to sell out or one of the founders to leave, and then it all starts getting a little bit messy pretty quickly. So first point of reference, get your shareholders agreement and articles of association and agree those points before you start investing serious time, blood, sweat and tears and money into a venture. Make sure that is all tied down correctly. And then once you get going, as quickly as you can afford it, to start getting some really good financial guidance on how your business goes and how to understand your business to the nth degree, rather than off the back of a cigarette packet that says, here's my revenue, here's my profit. Just being clear on your financial metrics and watching cash. Cash is king. So your cash flow analysis on a monthly basis, if you can do that, then you'll go on and grow. But if you're looking for the fundamentals that go wrong, it's often those 2-3 main points.
And last but not least, how do you de-risk an exit?
How do you de-risk an exit? I think realistically, it is about options. If you've got multiple buyers, you're going to start to de-risk your position, because you're going to have multiple competing bids against your business. Next one after that, you know what? Just present your business in the right way. And by the way, you are guilty until proven innocent. So you just need to make sure that anything that you put into the wider market about your business when you're selling the business is absolutely accurate. Do not stretch the truth. Do not stretch the position of your organization, because you will get found out and it will be in due diligence and you won't get the value. But also the other ones are the easy ones are, diversify your customer base. Don't be beholden to one customer or one customer representing 80% of your revenue. Make sure your payables, you're getting paid on time, all the basics of what we all know. But lots of times businesses just don't de-risk before they go live.
Mark, thank you for showing up today. Where can people find out more about you and the company?
Yeah, by all means. So we have a website, www.capeq.com, capeq.com, and please feel free to reach out to us. And if we can help in any way, we'd love to.
That was Mark